Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cannesversations. I'm Stephanie Beach, and I'm here with Molly today. Molly, can you give a brief intro for yourself, please?
Sure. I'm Molly McArdle. Thanks for having me. I'm VP of Advertising Solutions at Genius Sports.
Nice. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to have you. How's the conference going for you so far?
Very successful.
Good.
Just walked out of a couple panels that were very eventful.
Good. I'm glad. That's good to hear. I haven't really been able to see any of the content yet. It's been a little busy. I went over to the conference earlier today, and it was a little bit of a whirlwind. Not going to lie. It's a little crazy over there.
You're not missing too much.
So I have some questions for you about the industry, and then we're going to do some rapid fire fun questions. You ready?
Let's go.
Awesome. Okay. So how are multicultural communities changing the way people consume media and connect with each other? And what should brands do as a result?
So funny that you should ask. So over at Genius Sports, we have a ton of first-party data, and I work directly with some of the largest brands across the world. And one of the biggest parts outside of women's sports is actually how do we better target the multicultural communities. One of the ways that we're doing it is understanding three things about an audience. So it's what are they buying, what are they viewing, and what are they attending? And this isn't just for the multicultural community, but across the board. So we're able to target in on that specific community in which the brands then understand what is that, beyond buying behavior, what is it that they're looking to do, how, and what's the best way to activate and target that specific audience.
Yeah, it's really important to be able to have something that's specific to that audience to resonate with them for the ads to work. Otherwise, it's kind of waste,
So one of the things that we're doing is we leverage our dynamic creative solution. So not only are we targeting that community, but we are also targeting them with a very specific message. So whether it's, depending on what that actual multicultural audience is, or, if it's male, female, or where they're located, we're able to not only reach them, but also really tailor the message specific to them.
That's really smart, and everybody should do that. I don't know why it's not being done more. Retail media is also a really big thing happening in our industry. Everybody has a network coming up or coming out, and I think it is really smart, but it is very fragmented right now. So how is it changing the way that customers shop, and what is the key to making it successful in your media plan?
So I think retail media is very interesting because not only does it impact the consumer, but it's also impacting the advertiser. It is a much more targeted buy. So specifically, I think about when I'm going on Amazon, I'm looking for a specific piece, but yet they're targeting me with, shop more like this.
Right.
So they're actually putting the direct correlation in front of me as a consumer and giving me options that are very in line with what I'm looking to buy.
Yeah, and it's so smart. Right. It's kind of like when you're in Sephora and you're waiting in line and they have like all those little things and all of a sudden you have 6 more things in your cart.
I'm a sucker for a good aisle pickup. So.
And that's basically what they're doing digitally. You know what I mean? Which is genius. So moving on to AI, how can we use AI to connect with people on a deeper, more human level, even though it's technology?
So interesting enough, I actually just walked out of a panel where they all joke because you can no longer go to a conference that does not discuss AI.
Seriously.
You are bound to hear it at least a handful of times a day throughout any conference that you attend. And one of the guys that spoke said actually one of the most brilliant things I've heard in AI. And he said, you must make sure your foundation is as strong and accurate as possible before applying any AI to it, and specifically from a data perspective. So your AI is only as strong as the foundation,
right,
and making sure that all the pieces are actually, accurate before really rolling that out, or else you just have a completely broken foundation.
Yeah, and then you're starting with something that's not even going to work to begin with, and you're just layering stuff on top of it that's not going to perform. So looking at it that way really makes sense, and the foundation is really important. So you need to kind of lay that and then build on top of it. It's a smart quote. With that comes authenticity, right? So it's an overused, overhyped word in our industry. Everybody's trying to be authentic. Everybody's trying to do all these different things and, be politically correct and do all this stuff. How do you think, or I should say, what does it really mean to be authentic? And how can a brand do this without looking like they're just jumping on the bandwagon?
I think first and foremost, it's truly reaching the right audience, getting in front of that consumer at an individual level. That being said, it's one of those things where the authenticity comes from a very unique or customizable solution.
Yeah.
Really being able to resonate. And one of the things, so like really focusing on sports, in sports media being such a large aspect to that, is we're shifting the industry as a whole at Genius Sports, because where a lot of advertisers come to us and say, we want to reach NFL fans.
Yeah.
But not only do they want to reach NFL fans, but their target, they're looking to just run within a live game.
Right.
We now stop them in their tracks and say, well, what do you get out of the inventory piece itself when you're not actually targeting that specific consumer? And especially like where things have all moved towards the digital world and streaming, you have the ability to reach that specific consumer at the right time. And I think the authenticity goes hand in hand with that, is how do you bring the brand to life during a time of emotion, or when the consumer or the fan in this instance is highly engaged during those specific moments.
Yeah. And that's a very unique perspective on it, but it's really true. And when you think about it like that, it just kind of makes sense. But I feel like a lot of people miss the mark.
We see it every day.
Or you know what I think? Like there's so much noise out there about it. I feel like people just panic and they're kind of like, we need to do something instead of doing something that just makes sense for them.
Yep. And so one of the things that we say is the 30-second spot's never going to be out. But rather than just target that consumer, that fan one time during a live event, it's look at it as a journey. So what is that consumer's journey? What is that fan's journey? And how do you target them in at all the right times, in all the right places, and really reach them specifically? So we've now kind of captioned or termed a new saying, which is like fandom is fluid.
Okay.
And meaning it's a journey. It's not like a one and done. And, you as a 30-year-old New Yorker, you're not just watching the Yankees game, but you're going to watch the Giants on Thursday night. Then you're going to watch the NBA in a week. And it's really like, and then it's also understanding what are all of your behaviors outside of that, the other 22 hours of the day. And that's where we think that the authenticity really will come into play.
Yeah, makes sense. So we're going to do some rapid fire fun questions. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. So this or that, AI or humans?
Humans.
Short form or long form video?
Long form.
First party or third party data?
First party. I take that back. I think you need both to have a holistic view.
Okay, fair. CTV or social commerce?
CTV.
Okay. Overrated or underrated? AI as a creative partner?
Underrated.
Okay. The death of the third party cookie?
Let's go.
Influencer marketing?
Interestingly enough, it is very impactful. And I think that actually goes into the authenticity part as well.
Yeah. Podcasting in the marketing funnel?
It depends how it's leveraged, but I do see it being a very successful means of advertising if it's leveraged the right way.
Makes sense. So being at the conference, making connections, meeting people, networking, doing new business, and just bumping into people. How do you make these connections last? How do you make them matter? What's your best piece of advice for navigating a conference like Ad Week in New York?
Well, I am a social butterfly, so I love meeting new people of all different calibers. But that being said, I always lead, and not just like at a conference, but anything in life, I always lead with trying to give the other person like the time to talk and better understand them, let them lead the conversation. So from a work perspective, it's really understanding like, who are you? What do you do? What's important to you? And then, if I see fit, or if it's something, whether it's like an immediate opportunity or even something down the line, it's really just like being able to tackle that in understanding who they are. And then most importantly, and I should have led with this, is getting to know them on a personal level. Yeah. I think people forget that everyone is just a real person.
Yes.
That's kind of like all of my relationships are really strengthened on like knowing them on a personal level and going from there.
I agree. It's so important to get to know people and really kind of deepen that trust and that partnership. Well, the friendship, which then the partnership comes. So last question. How do you utilize a conference to build your personal brand?
Always dress my best.
I love it. You always do look good. I'm not going to lie. Your hair is on point today.
Oh, thanks.
You look very beautiful. Well, this was so fun. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Until next time.